What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over the Evolutionary War, and we do pick up with part 4, and we jump back over to the X-Men comics side of Marvel Comics. Really, it's New Mutants annual number 4. Yep, the New Mutants are also being involved in this whole entire war when it comes to the High Evolutionary. Now remember, the High Evolutionary's main goal is to help advance the human race, and the only reason why he's doing all of this is because when it came to him making counter Earth on the other side of the sun, it was taken away by the Beyonders. Now, the High Evolutionary did go confront the Beyonders, but when he did that, he realized that they're on a whole different kind of power level. They're basically gods. And for him, he's not. And neither is the human race. And so he went back to Earth and began to try to find different ways to help advance the human race by taking out different groups of people who may slow down the evolution of the human race. And that is where the New Mutants get involved. Well, really, just one in particular. And so getting into the opening pages for today's video, we do pick up with two mutants, and that will be Bulk and Glowworm. Now, these are two mutants that we have actually met back in X Factor number 7. And remember, these were two mutants like others around the world. When they had gained their mutant ability, well, unfortunately, their body had changed to the point where they were no longer able to hide in public. Now, they did try to hide with the Morlocks, a group of mutants who are very similar to them and their situation, but when it comes to Glowworm and also Bulk, their bodies have absorbed so much radiation that if anybody goes near them, well, they will die because of radiation poisoning. And so Bulk and Glowworm have no choice but to live on their own. But as we dive into today's story, we see them currently being attacked by the purifiers. Now, the purifiers are a group of people who work for the High Evolutionary, one of his many groups, who always tries to help him to achieve his goal, which is again, advancing the human race. And so when it comes to Bulk and Glowworm, they gotta go. Not really just because they are mutants, because their radiation they're emitting when they're walking around the world. That's killing off people left and right who could possibly help advance the human race. And so the purifiers, their main goal is to capture Bulk and Glowworm and to remove their powers, but to also deal with their radiation that they are emitting. And our two heroes, I say heroes very loosely here, they are able to fight off the purifiers for a good while, but unfortunately, they are captured and taken away. Now, I do want to establish one thing here. When it comes to the High Evolutionary, he's not going to kill off, mutants left and right unless he believes that the mutant gene or the mutant evolution is going to lead into a dead end. Because think back to our first chapter when he went after the Moiloids. Those characters right there, he thought at first that their evolution path was only going to lead to a dead end, to only see that it wasn't true. And so if he believes that mutants might have the ability to evolve into a greater state, then he will not kill them off at all. And so when it comes to Bulk and Glowworm, he does not want to kill them. Now we jump over to the New Mutants who are currently in the danger room. Now, it's been a while since we have talked about the New Mutants, and I want to sit here real quick and give you a quick reminder of what's happening with them. So, for example, right now, the New Mutants are technically in lockdown because back in Fall of the Mutants, one of their own was killed off, and that would have been Cypher. Now, ever since his death, Magneto has been really protective over the New Mutants, but to the point where they're not really allowed to have any kind of fun at all. For example, they're not allowed to leave school grounds, and they're not allowed to use their powers at all unless it's for training, and that's really it. Now, when it comes to the New Mutants, they're kind of getting fed up with Magneto, but unfortunately, they have nowhere else to go. And so they have no choice but to stay there and kind of follow his rules. But you didn't have Magneto also mention that when it comes to Danny Moonstar, her power is the weakest out of all of them because she's only able to create mirages of different things that she pulled out of people's minds. And so because of that, it doesn't really help the team out when they're out there in the battlefield. And so he established that she has become a great fighter if she really wants to help her team out there in the battles. But getting back over to Glowworm and also Bulk, we see the purifiers being able to remove their powers, but not really being able to remove the radiation inside their body. And with that being said, I do want to mention that Glowworm and also Bulk are at the end of their life. Because back in X Factor number 7, we were told by these characters, because they were able to absorb so much radiation, that they were already dying at a very slow rate. By this point in Marvel Comics, they're at that point where they are about to die. But we have to shift our focus on the purifiers because the computer system was able to pick up Magma, who had recently left the New Mutants. Now, Magma is a very powerful character on her own, and so when it comes to the purifiers, they believe that Magma could be a problem if the human race can possibly evolve. Now, something I should mention about Magma around this time in Marvel Comics is that she left the New Mutants team and joined Emma Frost's team, the Hellions, except after joining the Hellions, well, she received a letter from her father that told her to come back home to their country, Nova Roma. Now remember, when it comes to Nova Roma, they have not really caught up to the ways of the 20th century. They still live like ancient Rome. And with that being said, he was trying to marry off his daughter. Now, after Magma had joined the Hellions, Emma Frost began a plan to gather certain kind of resources from Nova Roma. And so when Magma went back home to her country, well, Emma Frost sent Empath along with her. Now, Magma and Empath, they do have feelings for one another, but Empath is secretly working for Emma Frost to hopefully trick her father to give the resources over to Emma Frost. Now, Empath does feel bad for Magma with the idea of her being forced to marry some other man, but at the same time as him saying, I love her, but I also trying to help Emma Frost out with the master plan. Now, while the two characters are talking, well, out of nowhere, the purifiers come, they take out Empath, they take out Magma, they grab Magma and teleport back to their base. Now, Empath knows he has to call up Emma Frost, which he does, and he tells her, hey, these guys took her and they teleport away back to their base, but I do have a location. Now, Emma Frost around this time was part of the Hellfire Club, and the reason why I am bringing that up because her main goal is to help out the Hellfire Club. That is why she's hoping to gather resources from Nova Roma. But at the same time, when it comes to her being part of the Hellfire Club, we get reminded so is Magneto. And when it comes to Magneto, the reason why he joined the Hellfire Club was to use their resources as a way to protect the school, to protect the students. And so with her calling up the rest of the members of the Hellfire Club, she has to call up Magneto. For one, hey, your old student got taken away, and two, I need your help to get her back. And so you do have Emma Frost warn Magneto about what happened to Magma. Now, the New Mutants, they were able to listen in on the conversation while Magneto was on the phone with Emma Frost, where they were able to gather what happened to their old team member Magma, but also knowing where she could possibly be at. And so you do have Magneto leave. He says, you guys have to stay here. I'll be back. Do not leave school grounds and do not use your powers. And he leaves. Now, of course, being teenagers, they are not going to follow those directions at all, especially with the idea on their own has been taken away. And so you do have the New Mutants agree to change into their new outfits to go out of their way to go save Magma's life. Now, once you do have the heroes arrive at the base of the purifiers, they do go out of their way to fight against the purifiers to free Magma, and once they free her, she's able to jump in the battle and fight alongside with her old team against the purifiers. But now we have to shift our focus over to Dani Moonstar. You see, Dani Moonstar, like I said earlier, is the weakest person on the team when it comes to all their abilities, because she's only able to connect her mind to your mind to pull out different information about you and then bring those things to life as a mirage. Now, it's a mirage, it's not real. And now it's not really helpful in a battle like this, because when it comes to the leader of the purifiers of this purifier group, he looks at Mirage and her powers as pointless, weak, stupid, because even though she does try to bring out his different fears as mirages, he does not care. He just walks through them. He grabs Dani Moonstar and throw her right into the same machine that he has Bulk and Glowworm on as well, to possibly get rid of her powers. Now, the machine was originally made to get rid of her powers, except when it comes to Mirage, Dani Moonstar, that doesn't happen. Instead, her powers are pushed forward into the next step of their evolution, to the point where now she is able to bring her mirages to life. And so when it comes to the leader of the purifiers, at first, when he saw demons, they were just mirage. But now those demons have been brought to life and they are able to attack him and the rest of his purifiers. Now the problem is Dani Moonstar is not really able to control her powers. And so now these demons who had just popped out of nowhere thanks to her abilities are now attacking both the New Mutants and the purifiers. But they realize if they are able to get rid of one mirage for another, then all she has to do is think of something else, bring that to life to get rid of the demons, which she does. She brings to life her spirit lance. And once she does that, all the demons go away. And you then have the New Mutants being able to take out the purifiers. Now, right after they were able to get rid of the purifiers, well, you then have the New Mutants realize the Hellfire Club, Emma Frost, Sebastian Shaw, and Magneto are about to arrive as well. And the New Mutants do not want to be caught at all by Magneto. And so you do have our young heroes teleport back home with Magma before they are found by Magneto and the rest of the Hellfire Club. And the purifiers, the ones they fought against, were teleported over to Limbo, just in case they do tell Magneto the New Mutants were actually there. Now, once you do have the New Mutants being able to get back to the school, they are able to relax, but now they have to think of an excuse of what happened to them while Magneto was gone, to hopefully think of a new game plan so that he will not find out they have snuck out again, thanks to Magic's ability. Now, with all that being said, Magma still has to go back home, no matter what. But on top of that, Magma has to make sure that she does not mention the New Mutants at all. And now she heads back home, but unfortunately, that means she's back on track to get married to a man that she does not want to marry. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.